Hello, all you YouTube peoples out there having hopefully a good weekend. I am in a great mood because it's finally cold where I live. Do you have any idea how annoying it is to have 80 degrees in November? It sucks. But more importantly, it is your weekend, Cow's Opinion. What is a Cow's Opinion, you may ask? It is where I, the Advanced Gaming Cow, will go through all the different news and views and who knows what else I can find on the internet to keep you up to date on the latest, greatest, and sometimes most shocking things that happen in the world of video games. Now remember, this is an opinion and it is my opinion. There's no sense in being mad at it because it is a cow's opinion and it is a moo point. It doesn't matter. And this episode, we are starting off with something that really caught everyone by surprise back when Doom Eternal released. And that is that the Doom Eternal composer is claiming that the soundtrack was a nightmare. Now, Doom Eternal composer Mick Gordon has released a statement, 14,000 words by the way, and has accused id Software's executive producer Marty Stratton of lying about the official soundtrack's shoddy release. This article is from Mr. Isaiah Colbert on Kotaku, and in this, he goes on to talk about his experience working on the soundtrack. That there was long stretches without pay, tons of unnecessary deadlines, and even an OST album that was going to be released with the game. The problem is they never told Gordon that that was going to happen. And in fact, he had to do a lot of stuff, including crunch for 18 to 20 hour days to meet id's deadline for the OST. Now, he is also claiming, Gordon, that he didn't get to hear the final soundtrack. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Cow, he did the music. He did the music for the game, but the album apparently had an additional 47 tracks alongside it, and he is claiming that there was careless editing and obvious technical faults, mistakes, and errors that left him speechless and just confused. A lot of fans at the time complained that overall the album did not sound up to Mr. Gordon's quality, and that there were like flat and audio errors and all kinds of stuff. Now, Gordon has made many claims in that post, including he never approved of the soundtrack's release. He wasn't paid until he was 8 months through its production. That's a long time to go without being paid anything. He wasn't informed that he'd be working on the soundtrack until Doom Eternal's Collector's Edition was advertised to the public, and that Stratton then offered him a six-figure sum to stay quiet about the matter. For those of you who don't know, Stratton is the executive producer of id Software that he was working with. Now, Doom Eternal had a 59-track OST, and the controversy was that Gordon only mixed 11 of the 59, and the obvious qualities of poor workmanship that the fans really just surprised. If you've heard Doom music and if you've heard Gordon's music, it's phenomenal. So it just really surprised people. Now, this led to harassment campaigns against id's lead audio designer, a Chad Mossholder, who was the person credited on the tracks fans had complaint with. So, now that was not cool to go after Mossholder, but the problem is that Stratton made a lengthy Reddit post in May of that year, claiming that a failure on Gordon's part to submit his music on time led to the multiple delays and led Mossholder pick up the pieces with the OST's 4 dozen other tracks. Stratton then concluded his post by saying the company won't be working with Gordon for Doom Eternal's DLC and wished him luck on future endeavors. Here is the comment on Twitter, and here's Gordon saying, "I didn't mix those and wouldn't have done that. You will be able to spot the handful of tracks I mixed." Now, Gordon claimed that he and Stratton discussed concerns over a Skype call in which they both lost their tempers. So apparently Stratton talked about what a failure was. Gordon says, "Hey, I only did 11 of these 59 tracks. It's not my fault that the ones I didn't touch suck, and you didn't even let me hear the entire album before you left it out. Of course it wasn't my quality that the fans were expecting." Now, Stratton would go on to say that Gordon needed to take public responsibility, and Stratton, perhaps understandably, was told, "No, I am not taking responsibility for something I didn't have anything to do." Now, it was thought that they had cleared the air and made up at the end of the call, but then id Stratton made his widely seen Reddit post blaming Gordon for everything. Marty's post severely impacted my professional and personal reputation. In releasing this statement, I'm exercising my right to defend myself, Gordon wrote on Twitter. It is a defense, not an unprovoked attack, and it's been issued with extreme reluctance only after all other attempts to resolve the matter have failed. Now, Kotaku reached out to Bethesda for comment. Now, Gordon also wrote, and this is important, in case any of you get any ideas, this statement is not an excuse for a hate campaign. Acts of hate dished out online won't result in any positive change. It only makes things worse. Who Gordon also threw, who wasn't at fault for the... Gordon wait months without pay. Sounds like Chad is a hack who never should have been working in the first place. So yeah, there's a lot of complaints against this Stratton guy, apparently. But to sum it all up, a very good composer is saying that he was just tossed under the bus. Now, the game's a few years older, and it was around this time that people were talking seriously about crunch and abuse in the industry. I kind of want to side slightly with Stratton, but until id Software has been able to say anything, we won't really know. Now, Kotaku has reached out to Bethesda for comment. Bethesda is the parent company of id. Bethesda is then, in essence, owned by Microsoft. So I'm going to guess that if anybody within id was actually at fault for any of this stuff, they're probably going to get punished. Especially because Gordon does a really good job, and he is somebody you would actually want doing your OSTs and your game albums. I mean, this is just ridiculous, honestly, and why you would think we're going to release an album with the best collector's edition, the best game edition, and only 11 of 59 tracks will be done by the guy actually scoring the game. I don't understand why that's happening. I mean, he's claiming he crunched 18 to 20 hour days to meet it, and that he wasn't allowed to listen to the final product. So, careless editing and obvious technical faults, mistakes, and errors. So yeah, that's a pretty damning accusation. Now, we don't automatically just assume that the company's in the wrong, because a lot of places did that with Bayonetta 3, and it turned out that maybe it wasn't. There were cherry-picked facts. So I'm not saying that Gordon is lying. I'm just saying we should give id Software a chance to, come to their own defense. At this point, you would think that somebody would just have, emails or proof of something. But I guess people aren't smart enough to do that. What do you guys think, though? I know Doom was a really popular game. I played some of the Dooms, and the Dooms... God, I sound like I'm 87 years old. In my day, I played some of the Dooms. We didn't have no 4K monitors back then. You had 8 bits of graphics, and you liked it. I don't know why I laughed at the end of that, but that is where we are stopping with this story. Hopefully, id Software and Bethesda will respond, and we will find out more about this situation. I'm amazed that it's starting to come out so much later after the game came out, but who knows why this stuff happens sometimes. It's very interesting. The entire 14,000 word open letter is available on Medium, which you can find through Mick Gordon's Twitter right here. Guys, let me know in the comments who you believe, and also while you're down there, how about you like, comment, and subscribe, because it really does help the channel out. And let's move on to the next story. And moving on, Control 2 is getting a sequel. Now, it's only currently in concept stages thanks to Sal Romano here in Gametsu. But Remedy announced a bunch of games coming out, and one of them is an agreement with 505 to make the new Control 2, which is a sequel to the original Control. It's going to be the bigger budget Control game that was previously teased. Now, this was the one that was codenamed Heron, and it's going to be built on Remedy stuff with 50 Games publishing it on its consoles. We are excited to deepen our cooperation with Remedy and continue the success story of Control together, said 505 Games co-CEOs Rami and Rafi Galente. Since its launch in 2019, Control has sold over 3 million copies. That's pretty good for smaller developers now. Control is the biggest investment 505 Games has ever made, so it has a special place in our hearts. We are grateful to the whole player community that has made Control such a long-lasting and loved game, and are even more excited to bring out Control 2. Here is the sequel artwork that they've come up with. If you don't know, Control starts off with the main character, a woman who has lost her brother in an incident, finally finding the Bureau of Control, a fictional U.S. government agency that finds objects of power, which are like these otherworldly things that can do crazy stuff, and seals them away before they cause damage. And it's even hinted that it takes place in the same universe as Alan Wake, which is also getting a sequel. In fact, if you played the original Control, there are references to a writer who is trapped, and that the agency is aware of this and even interviewed his friends after he was gone. It's a really cool, freaky universe that they're building. I'm looking forward to the sequel of this game, but we have to end on a very sad note, because Kevin Conroy, the actor who played Batman in more media than ever, and is widely credited as being the best Batman, has unfortunately passed away after a short battle with cancer. There have been a ton of tributes. At first, people thought that it was somebody hacking into somebody's social media, until Warner Brothers and DC Comics officially posted that he had unfortunately passed away at the age of 66. It's not super old either, so it really, really sucks. Mark Hamill, who established his now own legendary take on the Joker, playing opposite Conroy in the animated series, said he loved Conroy like a brother because of his ability to lift his spirits anytime the two spoke. Kevin was a brilliant actor, Hamill said. For several generations, he has been the definitive Batman. It was one of the most perfect scenarios where they got the exact right guy for the exact right part, and the world was better for it. His rhythms and subtleties, tones, and delivery, that all also helped inform my performance. He was the ideal partner. It was such a complimentary, creative experience. I couldn't have done it without him. He will always be my Batman. For everyone, pretty much Conroy is the favorite Batman. I'm not trying to take a dig at Adam West and his take on Batman in the old TV show. I'm not trying to be mean to the amazing Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. I'm not trying to take the piss out of anybody. But if you've ever seen Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, the Arkham series, the Injustice titles, Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, so many other video games, he even got the chance to step into the suit in a live-action role for the first time, Crisis on Infinite Earths, with the TV show on the CW. I mean, I just don't know what to say, man. There's a bunch of tributes going up. You can easily... There's way too many to ever post. And it's just... I don't know what to tell you. I'm just really upset. His formative experiences will culminate on the day he was approached by Warner Brothers to audition for the role of Bruce Wayne in Batman the Animated Series. Despite not knowing anything about the character, Conroy wrote that he felt a kinship with the mask of confidence the superhero would often display while fighting crime. You guys, this really sucks. He is and was a brilliant actor, and I don't know if we're ever going to get another actor who portrays Batman quite like that. So, I mean, I really hate posting this story and ending the weekend show, not only shortly, but on sad news. But unfortunately, this is very sad news. The best Batman that we have ever had, possibly will ever had, is not going to be able to be Batman anymore. But guys, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Play more games, because games are awesome, and you deserve awesome. And I'll see you next time.